Okay, I was okay, I should be live now. I was trying to do the stream a little bit differently today and I was messing with stuff. So that's why I'm like 2 minutes late. But yeah, I guess I'll just start talking and, you know, hopefully a couple people will hop in and we can talk, or I'll just ramble to myself, I guess, if no one shows up. Maybe people were busy worried about the you know, craziness last night and all that. So I was going to talk about that just for a minute because my channel is not, obviously not a political channel. So I don't want to um I don't want to go on too much about that. See, this is super annoying the way this is set up. It's actually really frustrating that they don't make the, I don't know if it's just me, maybe I'm just a fucking boomer. But I was trying to set it up to where the chat essentially just covered up the part of the gameplay, since no one actually cares about that anyway. And for whatever, hey, is this the gangbang? What's up, man? How you doing? And OBS is being stupid, and because I'm also stupid, I went live before I meant to. And now it is telling me to screw myself. So I'm trying to figure out now, because of course, as soon as you start tinkering with stuff, you know, this is what happens. Maybe you should, maybe I should try to review some good shows too. You know, I try to mix in the anime stuff because that's a lot of the stuff that I actually like. And then when I watch the Korean stuff, you know, sometimes I'll throw that in. But unfortunately, I feel like I miss out on a decent amount of the I miss out on stuff like House of the Dragon because I just didn't really have any interest. You know, I watched Shogun, I reviewed that one. I was gonna do a like a long form. Your message didn't show up. Yeah, you just mentioned House of the Dragons. Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't like to review stuff that I don't have like strong feelings about. And I just don't like particularly care about House of the Dragon. Like, I can't tell if that's better, if that looks stupid. Because I'll be honest, I'm still salty about Game of Thrones. Because just the way everything happened, you know. It's oh, iStat's bitching because he said he's here for the gangbang, but it wouldn't show it. I wonder if you put it as one word, if maybe it blocks it out or something. Oh, Star Trek Discovery. I've never watched Star Trek, actually, like any of it. And that's the thing too, is I've kind of considered, you know, going back for older shows that are good, but I just only have so much time. So it's like, you know, do I want to, there we go. So it's like, do I want to watch an older show that probably no one's going to give a shit if I review? Like I watched, I I'll just stop messing with it. It can stay at this size, whatever. Like I watched the Avatar original show recently, and I was overall pretty positive about the show. I mean, a lot of my complaints were more because it was limited to be a kid's show. Oh, Discovery's not good. Oh, sorry. I was thinking of, is it season 3 of Picard that people were praising? Maybe that's why I got it mixed up with. But yeah, as far as good stuff, it's like, you know, I really liked Shogun. I did those videos, and Shogun was super popular. But I don't know, like I'm not even sure what popular shows I would be interested in right now besides House of the Dragon. And because I'm bitter about House of the Dragon, it's like, meh, you know? So that's why I try to mix in the anime stuff to be positive. The Boys, I don't like The Boys at all. I actually did a negative video about that show recently. Pretty much for me, for The Boys, and I'd have to go back and rewatch the entire thing, which I'm not going to do. I've watched each season once. Well, except for this season, I watched one episode and just turned it off because I had no interest. But for me, The Boys was season 2. Like once they had Stormfront, you watch Sopranos. Yeah, see, like there's stuff like that and The Wire that I've considered watching. And like oh shit, what's the military one? I'm blanking on the name. I want to say Brother of Arms. I'm fucking blanking on the name. But The Boys, like once they had the season 2 where the literal neo-Nazi was calling like PewDiePie a Nazi. Band of Brothers, thank you. Jesus Christ, I'm getting senile. Once the literal neo-Nazi was just saying things like we should have a meritocracy and essentially like mainstream right-wing talking points. And the show, the writing for season 2, I think got worse overall on top of that. I was just like, nah, I'm good. I was interested in season 3 because they had Jensen Ackles coming in, but then I feel like he didn't get very much screen time. And the plot at this point has pretty much just been like treading water for 3 seasons. Like I thought the show was pretty interesting when, you know, you had the whole thing where the boys were like kind of operating in secret and trying to essentially assassinate the heroes. But then once it became like out in the open and Homelander knows who they are and what they're trying to do, then it's like, okay, well now the show's just stupid. But it's not like Homelander's some morally ambiguous guy that may or may not kill people. Like he's a lunatic. And then, you know, obviously they interacted with like A-Train and all the other ones too. It was just kind of dumb at that point for me. And then because they didn't like put any effort in, it just sort of, you know, ended up as like iStat says the best looking girl ruined her face for season 4. Yeah, it fell apart for me. And then I actually did watch season 3. I watched it in like one night. I think I might have been drunk actually. Because I was just like I'll watch it, whatever. And I just did not give a shit. It felt completely like they just wanted to be super shocking and gory. There was nothing particularly clever. The politics were even more overt in season 3. And that's kind of what my video was about. It was more, I mean, it was like a mild criticism of The Boys, but it was more of like, how is anyone surprised who's watched this show for 3 seasons that is very overtly political and mostly in one direction? I don't know. But yeah, I got kind of sidetracked there. But yeah, I would like to actually review good shows. I just feel like there's not very much good stuff coming out, or at least not stuff that I care about. I mean, like, what are the most popular shows right now? Like Bridgerton. I'm not watching that shit. I mean, I'm looking forward to like reviewing some movies. I try to at least see everything that I think is could be decent. I think the Bike Riders was the last one that I liked. You've never heard of Bridgerton? I think it's a chick show, so I wouldn't be surprised if you hadn't. It's the one on Netflix about like medieval, or not medieval, but like Victorian era England or whatever. And there's like black chicks and gay people and all the representation. I don't know. It just looks fucking miserable. And beyond that, it's like, you know, if you look at like the Nielsen ratings, the stuff that dominates is all the old shit, like Suits and Big Bang Theory or whatever the fuck, and SVU and all that crap. So I was just briefly gonna talk about the stuff with Trump last night, mainly because it was crazy. I never thought that we'd see some shit like that in my lifetime. iStat is contributing to the SVU Nielsen ratings. He said he spent a day watching it on the 4th, or when he was home for the 4th. But the stuff with Trump was just fucking crazy. And I don't know how anybody at this point could not just absolutely loathe the media. Like, there were articles yesterday, and I think a lot of them have been changed now. But even the change has been like, you know, like Trump okay after gunshots at rally, instead of like Trump survives assassination attempt. Which I'm assuming here soon, someone's going to like throw a shoe at Biden and it'll be assassination attempt all over the news. You know? But just the media, I just find the media disgusting. And I find it disgusting that everyone pretends like they give a shit when they spent the last decade calling him worse than Hitler and saying that if he won an election, there was going to be mass genocides, you know, black people were going to be enslaved again, all the gays were going to be hunted down. It's just gross. And, you know, hopefully something good will come from this. And, you know, I think the best thing that Trump could do, whether you're right or left, is, you know, say, look, our politics have gotten way too divisive. Things are way too heated. You know, I want to bring things back to the center and be a president for all the people and unite us and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, that, I think that would be the best thing that could happen, probably for the country in reality, is he just takes a mild approach, you know, tries to get everyone united instead of, you know, what he could do, which is be like, the Democrats are crazy, put me in office and I'll go after all of them. They're criminals. Because then things will continue to escalate, or at least stay as they have been. So hopefully that's what he does going forward, is just kind of give the generic politician message of, I want to be a uniter. I don't blame this on the Democrats, but things have gotten way too divided in the country, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, just really, like, if he's the one to dial things down, I mean, first of all, I think it would be good for him just objectively as far as popularity, but also it would be good for the country, I think, just as a whole. Because, you know, obviously if he escalates it and says like, fuck these people, go get them, then there's always the risk at, you know, retaliatory violence or something like that. I mean, we were like, as far as I can tell, and I don't think this is hyperbolic, that we were about a fucking inch away from a civil war. It really does seem that way to me. iStat says the issue about what happened was how the media tried to downplay it, saying he fell from possible exhaustion when you could clearly hear the gunshots in the audio. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they did everything they could to downplay it until probably they got shit on by people and were like, okay, we have to say what happened. And iStat saying that, you know, they could clarify that they don't know what the pops are, but to just ignore it to avoid sympathy for the situation. Yeah. Looked really bad. And then he also said lol at Trump dialing it down. I mean, I actually thought, I didn't watch the whole debate, but he did seem more mild than previously. I mean, he still is who he is at the core, right? Like everything is the best. He's the best. All good things are because of him. All bad things are because of Democrats. I mean, he is who he is. But I'm just saying he just shouldn't come out and just straight up be like, fuck the Democrats, you know? I mean, not only for his own campaign, but just for everyone's sake. Because I think for his own campaign, if he actually does come out and just say, like, look, you know, this was the work of a lone gunman or whatever, but I think the messaging has become extremely polarizing and blah, blah, blah. All the language they always fucking use. I do think he could win over the entire center. And, you know, it's a good message that he should be spouting anyway, or espousing anyway. Yeah, exactly. His message last night was fine. You're talking about the one where he said that, you know, he's glad that he thanked the Secret Service, and he said that, you know, he feels more sorry for the actual victims and their family. Oh, and not to jump to conclusions about the shooter. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, if he just acts like a somewhat normal person and not like how he's acted, then I think that, I think it would just be good for everybody, including himself. I mean, you know, if you're a Republican, then I think that would be good for you also, election-wise. But, I mean, what the fuck do I know? I'm not his campaign manager. So I don't want to talk too much about that. I just wanted to mention it because there's kind of no way to not talk about it. Like something like that we haven't seen in, you know, 45 years, I think. I'm not sure when Reagan's attempt was. I think it was it like 83? So like 40 years? It was a long time ago. Whatever, 80s. At least 40 years. 81. Okay. Yeah. So 43 years. Yeah, exactly. Like I wasn't even alive the last time that an attempt happened. And, you know, if he had been an inch to his right, it would have been the first actual one in, what was JFK, 67, I think. So 57 years. Crazy. And I want to give a brief channel update. And this is something I just kind of did. You know, if you guys don't have any interest or think it's stupid or whatever, just tell me. I don't care. Because I don't have very many people who are members or anything anyway. You know, every once in a while I'll get like a super thanks or whatever, but obviously I'm not getting fucking rich here. So you guys, I can still take quite a bit of input into the channel. I added a couple more tiers for memberships last night. So there's a $2 one, and that one I just put that I'll prioritize responding to your comments, which if you watch my stuff or comment, you see that I do try to respond to as many comments as I can anyway. So that's more of just if you want to throw a couple bucks my way and support the channel. The $5 one I didn't change, which is the one where it's $5 a month and I can review a movie or show of your choice. The shows I'm trying to keep limited to like one season of anime roughly, which is about 4 hours if you pick a show. Obviously Avatar was a little bit longer because it's 20 episodes, but not much. Those episodes are short anyway, so it's not a big deal. And then I added a $10 one. If people want to hop on the stream with me, I mean, I've only got 4 members, so you guys have quite a bit of sway here. I mean, if I guess something goes viral and the channel takes off, I'll have to change stuff. But, you know, I added a $10 one. If you guys want to come on the stream with me on a Sunday, I figured that would make it a little bit more interactive. And then also probably make the podcast better or my streams better or whatever you want to fucking call them. So it's not just me talking to myself. Like today, I was actually going to have Unbridled Mayo on, but he but I didn't plan ahead, so that was my fault. And then I asked him what shows he'd watched recently, and we had like none that we overlapped on. And then I've also got some stuff going on, so this is gonna be a short one anyway. I'm probably gonna try to wrap up around like between 1 and 1:30 because I got some stuff that I need to do, like real life stuff. So I didn't want to invite him on and then, us be under a time crunch. But I was on Unbridled Mayo's last couple Sunday streams. If you want to check those out on his channel, we covered we did like an EFAP style thing of an organized chaos video from about a year ago where he tried to smear Mauler. And he's using that as a bigger part of it sounds like a long form video. I haven't seen it or anything, and he's taking his time on it because he's also, his channel is about the size of mine, so he's obviously not living off of YouTube, I wouldn't think. But so yeah, I just want to give a channel update. If you're interested in coming on the streams, I created that tier level. Obviously, I already had iStat on, but that was more because I know him from real life. And I figured this would just be a better way for me to interact with you guys and then also hopefully make the streams better. The only caveats for that would be, obviously one would be if you have to have a decent microphone. No, it's a carbonated water. I'm only drinking water right now, so if I don't drink these flavored waters, it gets fucking boring. But obviously, one caveat would be you need a decent microphone. I've been running the calls through Discord. I might fuck with StreamYards. I don't know. Damn, that's sad because I'm drinking water. Bitch. Oh, hey, man. I was just talking about you. Yeah, so I was telling people how I was supposed to have you on and I didn't plan ahead. And then we had like fucking nothing we had watched recently that was the same, so. And you're like a long form guy too, so I didn't want us to be rushed. I'm going to wrap up probably here in about 45 minutes. But yeah, and sorry. So I was saying about the caveats for that membership level would be, if you come on the stream, obviously you need a decent microphone. It'll either be through Discord or if I can stop being a boomer and get StreamYards to work, I can just send you a link. Mayo says whatever I say about him is all lies. Yeah, he's actually fat free. But the second caveat would obviously be you couldn't say any fucking slurs or anything that would actually get me in trouble. Like I would just boot you at that point and be done with it. And I wouldn't be giving out fucking second chances. And, I figure I don't have a couple members anyway, so if I really wanted to, I could rotate you guys through once a month. And I guess if for some reason the channel were to get bigger fast and I had a bunch of members, I'd probably change that to like a members only stream. Or maybe like one of those like members only streams where I had to just talk to a bunch of you at once or something. Like that's all stuff the bigger channels do. I'm not really worried about it. But I just figured I'd throw it out there if anybody's interested. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about today was Halo. Because I feel like I've only talked really about the Halo show, which kind of sucks. Well, the show really sucks, but it kind of sucks that I've only been able to talk about, or I've only talked about like the shittiest aspect of the entire Halo brand or IP. And I was just thinking about like what made Halo so great to begin with and like so beloved. Obviously a big part of it was the gameplay. I mean, for the time, I think 2001, the graphics were pretty good. It was a really big, not open world, but the world felt big, even though the story was linear and everything progressed linearly, which they should have stuck with for Infinite. But one of the things I feel like gets downplayed with Halo is that people sort of shit on the characters and act like, you're just this mindless cyborg killing aliens. And I would say it's more true for Halo 1 than the rest of them. But even in Halo 1, you get a lot from Chief and Cortana's interactions and Keyes' interactions. Oh, well, thanks, iStat. iStat just upgraded from the $5 one to the $10 one. So now he can come on stream again. I never would have let him otherwise. Especially after he fucking name dropped me last time. Bitch ass. Oh, sorry, it's too late. I can't unannounce it. But you know, people really downplay the amount of character work in Halo Combat Evolved that's done. And it kind of pisses me off because the reason that they're doing that is to try to defend the Halo TV show. So, you know, like the Halo TV show obviously sucked ass. But people tried to be like, oh, well, you had to take his helmet off. He didn't have a personality. And they do this bullshit like no one remembers playing the fucking game or hasn't replayed it in recent memory. And, you know, you do get like how essentially brave he is from his interactions with Cortana. He's got like this dry wit to him. You know, when Cortana's like, even if we could get to the reactor, I wouldn't know what to do. And the camera cuts over and he's just tossing a frag in his hand. Like, there's good shit in there. And you know, you have the whole thing with him and the flood. That's like the horror, oh shit moment. And Chief is like, okay, now I need to take care of fucking business. And obviously you're the player, so you're doing the shooting. But just story-wise, he's not like, oh, like panicking and gonna give up on the fucking mission. It's like he's ready to take care of fucking business. And then you have like the little jokes where he crashes the Banshee into the side of the Pillar of Autumn, and Cortana's like, you did that on purpose, didn't you? Like, he does have a bit of a, I don't know if I want to say playful side to him, but you know what I mean. Like, there's more to him than just mindless killing robot. And I really hate how that gets downplayed. And then I really hate that people ignore that the game still has stakes. Like, even if you want to say that Chief had no personality, from Halo Combat Evolved, you learn about the Covenant, about their superior technology, about their sort of like religious dedication to this ring. You learn through them how dangerous the Flood really are. Like, you learn all that just by playing the game, even if you don't watch any of the cutscenes. You see all that. And it also really ignores Captain Keyes, who I would say I'd be tough for me between him and Cortana, who I'd say is the best character in that game. I think he has the best character arc. But even without all that, you know, the stakes are very clearly explained. And this is something that the show failed massively at. Like, if you play Halo and you just go through, right, and Cortana's like, hey, this ring, it is a weapon to kill the Flood. It kills fucking everything. Like, even without knowing anything else, you know it's humanity versus Covenant versus Flood. So, you know, you've got massive stakes just from that interaction alone. And for the sake of a TV show, all they had to do, well, I mean, other than the fact that they should have just done the Fall of Reach book, which I've said like a million fucking times, but all they had to do was that, and then maybe add in some side characters that are interesting. You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to have these convoluted, you know, everybody's trying to betray everybody. Who should you be trusting? And the sad thing is all that stuff probably wasn't even motivated by an interesting story. It was probably motivated by fucking political bullshit. Like, they were like, oh, we don't like the fucking police, so let's make Oni like the glorified police. Like, they're all liars. They're kind of authoritarian. They're over militarized. Like, completely ignoring the fact, and this is what I'm saying, the show fucked up. Like, when you play Halo, you understand that if you lose, humanity is fucking dead. Like that, like the stakes are very, very clear. iStat says Keyes is the man. Yeah, Keyes is awesome. And he's even better in the books because he's in a few books before, obviously, what happens in Halo. And, you know, when you play the game, it's very clear you have to win or humanity dies or loses. What but either way, like they're going extinct. It's an extinction level intergalactic event. Like you can't have much bigger scale than that. And there is no fucking way that you can watch that TV show and tell me that you could get like how much of a threat that all was simply from the show. You could never know that. I mean, even the people who were like trying to defend the show, which I would just assume are either bots or shills. They're like, yeah, my mom loved it, which I'm sure. First of all, I'm sure. But also, they're like, yeah, I explained to her the blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, so you pulled everything from the lore to explain this dog shit show that explains nothing and is just like shitty drama. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ice Dad says that he read the books and that's why Keys is awesome. But the Flood book was actually a lot more depressing than the game was with Keys' arc. Yeah. Yeah, the Flood book, like people shit on that too a lot. And, I would say, to be fair, you probably could skip all the Chief parts because a lot of it's just like he reloaded his M47B, whatever it is, 90 millimeter assault rifle, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of that for Chief's part. I would still read it just because. But Keys' part is much more fleshed out. And you get all these little backstories of, the Marines around the ring and how they're keeping like the logistics going of the ring and kind of trying to explore. You see Silva, who I think I can't remember if he's a colonel. I can't remember what he is, but he's the highest guy, military wise besides Keys. Like once Keys is gone, Silva's in charge. And Silva refers to Chief as a freak. And he's like, the Marines are the ones doing the front work, on the front lines doing the work. The Marines are the ones dying. And then his second command is a chick. I can't remember her name either. She's really a good character too, though. And she's like, we're doing the logistics and exploring, but he's out there by himself doing as much as we are, essentially. So there's a really good dynamic there. You get Jenkins' story in the Flood book, which is also super depressing because then you find out that the Flood, when they take you over, your conscience is like still there. You just have no control. So you're just kind of like watching your body like as the Flood be fucking crazy. Like it's rough. And the show just skipped all of that to be what? Like dramatic and Oni is corrupt. Yeah, Ice Dad said he forgot Jenkins' story. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like if you really wanted to please like the normie Halo fans, first of all, I still think the Fall of Reach would have been the best way to go. But the Flood book, if you just started there, I mean, that would get people sucked in right away. Because it's a good, like the Halo story is a good story. And I kind of got sidetracked. What I was thinking about the whole thing with the scale though is like from the TV show, you get like 2 or 3 fights with the Flood each season, and they're really just like little skirmishes. Like, yeah, in season 2, they're like, oh, we lost this shithole planet out here that no one cares about. We evacuated the citizens. No big deal. But obviously they didn't have the money, or they just didn't want to do any like full space battles, which is also something that just pisses me off to no end about the show. Is the Key's big thing, like the thing that made him like who he was in the military and in the story, was his ability in space battles. Because the humans were always overwhelmed, and he pulled shit out of his ass, particularly in Fall of Reach. And then also, if you go back to the Cole Protocol, he's a lower rank, but he still is high enough, I think he's a lieutenant, to make suggestions. And he comes up with like clever ideas like on the spot. And there is no fucking way that you could get any of that from the show. I don't know. It's just so disappointing to me because I've loved Halo since I was a kid. For, fucking 2 decades. We finally get a show, and what do we get? Fucking nothing. Like nothing. Like they give us a weird, it's supposed to be like a spy thriller drama, I guess. I don't even fucking know what you call it. With like a little bit of random sci-fi thrown in. And then Pablo Schreiber begrudgingly putting on the armor because he has to cover his face up. Fucking loser. Must be something with these fucking actors, man, that they just refuse to wear the fucking helmet. And you can still have your name first in the credits. Like, I don't know. I fucking can't stand these people. It's just frustrating. And it's frustrating to me that people are you see this a lot with Star Wars too, where I'm not even sure if you would call them fans. Probably just shills. Or like the newer wave of people who are like, oh, it's trendy to be a hashtag nerd. And they'll come in and be like, if you level that kind of criticism, they'll be like, well, it was always bad. And it's like, no, fuck you. No, it wasn't. The reason that it got made and that people loved it was because it was good. Don't try to pretend like it was always bad to defend the piece of shit they're making now. Which is exactly what they fucking do. It really, really fucking pisses me off that people do that shit. I mean, even in just like the 10 minutes that or whatever, 15 minutes that I talked about it, there's way more to what I just said about Halo than anything in the show. And that doesn't even get into like Sergeant Johnson, another fucking beloved character. Like, how the fuck are you going to race swap Captain Keyes to be black and then get rid of Sergeant Johnson? Like, what are you doing? Especially because, like these showrunners are assuming that the show is going to keep going. Especially when you consider that Sergeant Johnson has a bigger role as each game goes. And then now that they made Keyes black, I guess they're not. Oh, they did kill him, but it was a really shitty, stupid death. I don't know. The whole fucking thing, like the Flood introduction with that rom-com pop music. I just don't understand. Like these corporations want to play things safe. What could possibly be safer than just making the thing that people loved on TV? Or on a movie. Like, don't make too many changes. If you want to make changes, add in original characters so people won't be too upset if you fuck them up anyway. And if you end up making them good, then great. People will like them. I just don't fucking get it. Like, and these people are in charge of billions of dollars worth of IPs. Like, I don't know what the exact value right now is of the Halo brand because I feel like culturally it's become irrelevant, but it's probably still worth billions. I mean, every Halo game still sells, 100 million copies or whatever. I think Infinite sold 80 million copies. So you're looking at billions of dollars. And that doesn't even get into the microtransactions and all the skins people buy. And if you start getting into other random shit like, posters and t-shirts and whatever the fuck else, merchandise. And it's like, how can you be in charge of just these massive IPs and not understand something as simple as like, oh, people like this. We should just do it. God, it is so frustrating to watch. And Star Wars is the same thing. Like, how many times are we going to get these, open-ended mystery box bullshit plot lines like The Acolyte? And then when the season ends, every single person, even the ones that claim to like it, go, that was it? That's what we waited for? And then, you know, Halo 2, I'm assuming, I don't know how much of Halo was planned ahead because like the whole Halo production sounds like it was really stressful from what I remember and like kind of a mess. And they didn't know exactly what they were going to be getting into afterward. But like the book Fall of Reach had come out before the game. Like Eric Nyland wrote that before the game came out. And it's just a good military sci-fi book. But beyond that, like the stuff that Halo 2 gets into, I'm not sure how much of that was planned. But they did a really good job. And I'll be honest, I was a kid. I think I was, when did Halo 2 come out? 2004? I think I was like 14 maybe. And I did not like having to play as the Arbiter. Hey, what's up, Mr. Divine? I did not like having to play as the Arbiter because I was like, you know, I want to play as Master Chief. Like, why am I playing as the Arbiter? But looking back on it and like story-wise, that was a risky move, but it was absolutely the right move to make so that we could get both sides of this galactic war. And then you get you get to be the Arbiter, who's an awesome character. You get introduced to like the half jaw. You know, you get introduced to like Admiral Hood. You get more of Johnson, more of Chief and Cortana, the Prophet of Regret. Like there's so many characters that come in, Tartarus. And then the books really go into all the lore and the dynamics and, you know, kind of how their society works and how it was formed. And it's all super interesting. And the show, they were like, okay, some bad cops beat up a little girl who's the chosen one. And she's going to represent the Covenant because we don't have the money. We don't have the money or the inclination or whatever the fuck it is to really go into the Covenant side. I mean, even season 2 with the Arbiter like was kind of interesting and could have been more interesting, but they didn't have the money. And obviously season 3 is when you get all your big dramatic payoffs and the Gravemind. Well, you get the Gravemind in 2, but you know, like you get to really see the effect he has on Cortana. Like it's such a simple story, but you understand the world building and you understand the scale, and all of the characters have their own thing going on. You know, you get introduced to Miranda, who obviously just lost her dad, but she's, you know, high enough in the military where people were expecting her to be a kind of a replacement for him. So it's really just a shame that they fucked it up the way they did. And, you know, you kind of wonder, will Paramount cut off season 3? Because they haven't said yet, as far as I'm aware. And I still see the fucking Halo series Instagram page posting every single day, getting on my fucking nerves. Posting every day about, you know, who's your favorite Spartan. Now, I swear to God, I think it's all bots. I really do. I'm not just saying that to like undermine that. I'm sure there are some people who like the show, but if you look at all the comments on like the Halo Instagram page, literally every single post is just people saying season 3, season 3, season 3. Like, and I just can't believe that many people actually like that fucking show. I just can't. Like, even if you know nothing about Halo, well, if you know nothing about Halo, I would think it's just boring more than anything. But I don't even know how you could follow the plot. Like, it's just all over the place. Nothing makes fucking sense. Nothing's explained. And then every single comment on their Instagram post, every single post, it's not just like a post here and there. It's every single one is season 3, or please give us at least 3 seasons or 4 seasons or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, never underestimate the stupidity of people. I know, but social media is one of those things that I just don't know how much I trust is real anymore. Like, I just find it hard to believe that people spend their time going on fucking line to talk about the Halo show. I mean, have you ever heard someone mention the Halo show in real life? Like at work or whatever the fuck? I sure as hell haven't. Because no one cares. And the other thing I was going to say, the reason I think it's bots mainly, if you ever go on Reddit, which, I mean, obviously Reddit is a fucking cesspool, but I go on there mainly to get manga updates because of, you know, the fan translations are so fast. And if you wait for the officials, you're waiting like months at a time. But if you ever go on Reddit, there's a Halo TV show subreddit. Oh, yeah. I'll read that in a second, Mr. Divine. Let me finish this thought before I forget again. So there's a Halo TV subreddit. It's only got like maybe, I think it's like 2,000 people or 2,500 people. It's not very many. But during the Halo season 2 run, when was that? Like February to March or whatever it was this year, January to March. During that entire run, almost every single day, there would be a thread. I think that's what they're called on Reddit, right? That started like, that the title was like, "Is it just me?" And then the text would be, "Or has this show gotten drastically better in season 2? And in some ways, it's even better than the actual games. I like that they changed so much from the games and didn't try to copy them. Who wants to just see the video game put on the TV screen?" Like, almost, that's almost verbatim what they said. I'm paraphrasing, but if you ever go on the Halo TV subreddit, that's all it was for like that 2-month stretch. And there's no fucking way that I believe that every single day someone's finding this show and their mom loves the show even though she never played Halo. Fuck you, suck my dick. So what Mr. Divine was saying was people just want content for content. For example, Berserk 2017 was trash, but people said that we should just be happy to get it at all and they exist. Yeah, and that's what I was going to say too. I see that a lot more for like Star Wars and anime than I do for other stuff. And I don't know if that's real people who are just like tied to a brand or like whatever. But every time I see it, it just makes me think of pigs at a trough being grateful for the fucking slop being thrown in there. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, the TV show exists. I mean, if you're an actual fan, right? Because people like us spent fucking money and time on it and gave it value. They didn't make this shit to be nice. Like, what do you mean be grateful? Like, we're the ones paying, we're the customers. I don't understand that fucking mentality at all. And every time I see it, it actually does make me like angry. And then Hibcomer. Am I saying your name right? Hibcomer? Maybe I'll just call you Hibby. Says that bots for sure. There's a lot of bots, but also look at the IQ curve. There's a lot of simple people that are easily entertained. It's not a coincidence the Kardashians were a success. And you know, I know there's that element to it of just like idiocracy levels of fucking people where they turn on the TV and their brain just shuts off. And they're like, oh, like loud noises. And they're like, ow, my nuts. And they're just fucking happy that there's something on there. But, you know, when it comes to something that's already got a pretty big cultural footprint, I mean, Halo's cultural footprint has shrank over the last decade because, well, for a lot of reasons. But, you know, the Battle Royale thing kind of hurt them. And then the, like the last games being lackluster. It definitely isn't like as big as it was, right? But I hate these fucking smoke grenades these dumbasses throw. But you know, like when you just throw away that base, which is what they do, it's just hard for me to imagine anyone who didn't already like Halo turning on the TV show like that and being like, "Oh, this is good." Like it's just a bad show. Like even like entertainment wise, what is there like 5 fights in 2 seasons or some shit? most of them are humans versus humans, like no one gives a fuck about. I don't know. Because I know what you're saying, that like people are fucking stupid, and they absolutely are. But something like the Kardashians, right? The reason the Kardashians are big is because of women. Like something like Halo is big largely because of men. And not that men can't be fucking stupid too, but I feel like I don't know. I just feel like men would be like, this is just boring. Like it doesn't even have anything surface level that I think you could be like, okay, like I can see why like the normie audience would like that, right? Like I'm trying to think of something that men like that's really fucking stupid. Because men, I don't think really do reality TV, do they? I mean, I don't, but I don't know if I'm the weird one there, or if that's like, oh, you bitch. Wrestling and NASCAR. Yeah. So like, wrestling is a good example. Like wrestling is one of those things that's like soap operas for men, right? Big muscular dudes saying cheesy ass lines and kicking the shit out of each other. It's real to me. Like all that shit. So there is an audience for that type of thing, but I don't feel like Halo really falls into that. Like I feel like when you go into fantasy or sci-fi, I feel like there's a little bit more of a requirement to be actually good. Or, you can get by with like shock value for some extent of time, right? And this would be something more like Game of Thrones season 1 was just a good show though. And that's kind of the, what else has been like decently well received? Like people said The Expanse was good. I mean, The Boys might be a decent example actually that you brought up earlier. I mean, The Boys, I felt like season 1 was decent and then it kind of fell off a cliff. So maybe The Boys is a good example of something that I would say is like not a particularly good show, but there's enough shock value there, enough dumb humor and whatever that people will find value in it. Something like the Halo show, or I mean, from what I've heard, these new Star Trek shows, something like The Acolyte. I think The Acolyte is a good example of this. Like if you're a normal person, shit, I almost jumped on a grenade. If you're a normal person, The Acolyte is a fucking snooze fest. Like what is, like there's nothing in that show, well, I don't think for anybody, but for men especially, like if you want cool sci-fi and world building and even just hot chicks, hot chicks and guns, you're not getting that shit in The Acolyte. Says Reacher was a good just guys show in season 1. Yeah. Reach. I see. That's what I mean. Like Reacher is a good example of that. It's just big muscular dude hooking up with chicks and beating the shit out of people. Like, I think you can get away with a lot of that for like the male audience. But when you turn something like Halo into a weird drama and there's like a love story component to it and a lot of it's just kind of bitching at your boss, who is that for? Like, and the ratings for Halo, despite what they tried to say, were fucking atrocious. If you're interested, I covered it on my channel week to week. And my interpretation of the numbers that we have is the most charitable one possible. By the way, that show ended 4 months ago. Paramount at this point has not been sold. There's been no word of renewal. It's just disappeared into the fucking ether. And to touch back on what I was saying before about the media, did you hear our friend R. Martin planning to make an Elden Ring movie or show? No. I heard that he did like a little bit with the game, but it didn't sound like much. I mean, maybe I misunderstood, but to me it sounded more like he did like a little bit of maybe just input on the world building or something. Nothing like extensive. So I guess if he's doing that, is he consulting or is he like he wants it to be like his show? And I'll go ahead and say I think he's a piece of shit. I know people have this whole thing about like, well, it's his story and he should be able to tell it when he wants to. I think it is fucking disgraceful to get rich off your audience and then not finish the fucking story, or to get rich off your audience and then try to prolong the story to milk them for as much as possible. I find it gross. Like, if you're a starving artist, fucking starve away and do whatever you want to your story. When you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars because of the fans, I feel like you owe it to them to fucking finish the story. He's a piece of shit. Oh, sorry. Mr. Divine says that George R. R. Martin made the history of the world for Elden Ring. Okay, so he did have a big part then. Yeah, and to me, this is just another one of those. Like, it's just a fuck you to his fans. It really is. Like, oh yeah, I know I finished the 5th book fucking 12 years ago or whatever it was. And I know that since then, I had the biggest show ever. Like, Hibcomer says, to be fair though, it's not an easy story to finish like that. We saw how well it went in the show. Yeah, I don't care. Even if it has a bad ending or a not well received ending, it doesn't matter to me. But the fact that he just keeps saying that he's going to finish it when he clearly has no intent to, I think is disgraceful. If he came out and said, look, I'm not going to finish it, I'll hand it over to somebody else to finish it, or I'm just going to die and live my life out, I would still think that's a pretty big dick move, but at least that's honest. I mean, every year on his fucking thing, he's like, oh yeah, this is the year. I swear, guys, I'm going to finish. No, he's a douche. I actually have a video recorded that I'm going to edit when I finish this stream about Rent a Girlfriend. And I said the same thing about this author. But actually, that author for Rent a Girlfriend, I say the opposite about. I think he's a piece of shit for dragging the story out. Because that fucking dog shit show or series just got a season 4. And to me, it's just so misleading because the advertising for the show and the way the story is written, every season you're like, oh, this is the one, like, progress is going to happen. This is where it's going to end. Rent a Girlfriend right now, I'll go ahead and tell you, even if it keeps getting animated, and this is the absolute earliest that you'll see progress. This is a spoiler if you're a fan of that fucking series. So here's a few seconds for you to mute for like 30 seconds. Rent a Girlfriend, if you're a fan of that show, even if it gets to season 5, they still won't be together. And I don't even know about season 6 yet. I stopped reading a couple months ago around chapter like 320 something. My video is going to come out probably about an hour after this. Whenever I stop the stream, I'm going straight into editing that. So, because I recorded it this morning, but then I went for a run and didn't have time to fucking edit it before the stream. That series fucking pisses me off. So the way this author writes, I guess you guys might know already since it seems like you're familiar with it. Maybe you're just familiar with the anime. The manga, the way that it's written, yeah, you saved yourself a lot of time, Istad, by quitting. The manga, the way that it's written, right? And I would say it was actually less like this in the first part of the series, but it was still kind of bad. But the way that it's written, probably since, I don't know, chapter like 100-ish, is every chapter is roughly 20 pages, right? Because it's weekly. The first 15 pages are just Kazuya inner monologuing, thinking about how hot Chizuru is, thinking about how much he loves her, thinking about whether or not he can be with her, blah, blah, blah. And the last like 3 to 5 pages, there'll be a little bit of bait in there where, they have a conversation or something, and then it ends on a cliffhanger. And that's the entire manga. So my video that I'm about to put out is about this Paradise arc, because this arc is going to cover, it's roughly chapter 170 to about like, let's say 240s-ish, depending on where they end. And they're still not going to be together. And when I stopped reading it a couple months ago, like chapter 320 something, they still hadn't even had their first fucking date. Yeah, Paradise arc is the season 4. That's what I'm talking about it. So when I stopped reading a couple months ago, chapter 320 whatever, they still hadn't even gone on their first fucking date yet. So after this season 4, the author hard resets. She Chizuru fucking ghosts him, undoes all the progress of the season. He's blown his load for all the big plot points, and it just starts over. It's fucking crazy. Hibcomer thinks I'm being too hard on George R. R. Martin. I expect him to be some perfect writing machine. It's not easy to write, let alone a series of books like that. You have no idea the mental toll a task like that takes. Yeah, I don't care. I really don't. You're going to tell me he couldn't write one book in 12 years? And if he's not going to finish, then he should say so. And instead of every year on his blog saying, I made a lot of progress, it's coming this year, I'm hoping to get it done this year. No. I think it was 2011. I could be wrong. And he's not like a fast writer, which is fine. Like the first 5, I think he wrote from I want to say 1980. No, what was it, like 93 to 2011 or something. So they take him some time. And yeah, all kinds of people have written massive book series with crazy big worlds and stories and characters. No, I don't think you get to get rich off the audience and then lie to them while also taking their money. That's ridiculous to me. I mean, I don't know if you like how much anime you watch. All of those book series, not all of them, a lot of the light novel book series go fucking 30 books. And like, yeah, they're not as long, obviously. You can read those in 5-6 hours, but story wise, they do as much, if not more. I mean, Attack on Titan, the dude did in fucking 12 years. And that story, I would say, is of equal scale and complexity to Game of Thrones. He cranked out his 1 month a chapter for, 13 years or whatever it was, or 1 chapter a month. But Rent-A-Girlfriend, what I was saying about Rent-A-Girlfriend is, so the guy uses about 75% of each chapter to just have inner monologues and bullshit, and then bait the next chapter. And that's been the formula for whatever it's at now. And the funny thing is the part that I left off at, it had taken, the last part that I read, I think it was there was a little mini arc called, I think it was called like everything is called my girlfriend and the whatever, or Rent-A-Girlfriend and the whatever. And this one was on, it was on like My Girlfriend and the Date part 12. So 12 chapters of literally just him planning their first date. And the funny thing is, it's probably going to get partway through. You're going to think like, oh, here it comes. And then Mommy or Ruka or whoever's going to show up, reset and fuck it up again. Because that's been the formula for this guy for whatever it's been, 8 years now, whenever the manga started. I think that if you make your living, not if you make your living, if you make whatever, I'm not going to set a hard number, but you're just middle class because you're an author, I would be a lot more forgiving. I don't think you get to become, and this is the exact statement that I'm disagreeing with, is the one that Hibcomer is making, that he doesn't owe anybody anything. I don't agree at all. I don't think you get to become 100 millionaire because you're fans and then tell them to eat shit. And Mr. Divine, my life doesn't depend on it. I wouldn't fucking buy it anyway. And he's never going to finish it, so it doesn't matter. I lost track of chat there for a second. I didn't realize you guys were talking back and forth to each other. Let me see. Yeah, so iStat says him continuing to debate the fans is what's wrong. Why doesn't he just say he's not going to be able to finish them? And that's why I said earlier, if he's not going to finish them, just say so. Because I'm sure there are still people buying the Game of Thrones books thinking, oh, he's going to finish them soon, because he keeps saying he is. So he's still making money off people knowing that he's not going to finish them. And then Mayo says that when you start a massive project like GOT that people get invested in and spend their money on, it's a promise you essentially make. Yeah, Mayo, that was my point. Was people have made him rich. Like, he's gotten to be rich and famous and hang out in Hollywood with celebrities. He's gotten all the glory and benefits from it. The other side of that is finish your fucking story. And then Hipcomer says, if your life depends on some dude finishing a book, then your priorities aren't right in your life. I'm not sure why you're attacking me. I never said my life depended on it. I said he's an asshole. And Divine says he's probably written himself into a corner. Yeah, which is fine. If he's written himself into a corner that he can't think of a way out of, I'm sure he has an outline for what he wants to do. And he could say, look, could you finish this and I'll consult, or we could co-author this, or whatever the case is. He has resources. He has options. Instead, what he's choosing to do deliberately is to keep saying, I'm going to finish it, knowing he's not, and then die. And then let the problem fall to somebody else. And then Hipcomer is calling me entitled. I mean, this doesn't really have anything to do with me, so just say so. Do you honestly think that he doesn't want to finish it? Yes, I do. I think the fact that he's published a lot of other books in that meantime, the fact that he's worked on the show in the meantime, that he's writing this Elden Ring series or whatever he's doing that brought this up to begin with, he clearly is working on stuff that isn't Game of Thrones. If it was a priority, he would make it a priority. I mean, that's just like anything in life. If he wanted to finish it, he would. It's not like he's, working his second job and can't find the time. You judge somebody, but you never walked in his shoes. You don't have any idea what it's like, artist or artist. So all artists will stop creating because they will never be able to meet everybody's expectations. I'm not sure why you're kind of straw manning me into some position that I'm not taking. I'm not saying he has to write it and it'd be perfect. I'm saying that if he can't finish it or doesn't think he's going to finish it, he should say so. You can go to his blog. You can see every time he said it's going to come out this year. Okay, and you keep saying I have no idea how hard it is to finish a series like that. I also don't have any idea what it's like to be a fucking 100 millionaire. I mean, like, what the fuck? Also, there are literally hundreds of other authors, if not there's probably thousands of other authors who have finished massive series with super complicated worlds, with super complicated stories. I mean, and I've also said, if he was a normal person, I wouldn't even give him a hard time for it. If he was living a middle-class life and just kind of getting by on his writing, and he was like, well, shit, I need to put a book out to make my living, or whatever the case was, I would be a lot more sympathetic. I'd be a lot more sympathetic if he just had stopped working altogether and was like, I'm burnt out. I can't do it. I had too many storylines. I don't know what to do. He has a lot of options. That's my point. But the one that he's taking, to me, is the worst one. To say, I'm going to finish it, I'm working on it, and then he's doing other projects. I don't think it's an excuse after over a decade. I just don't. Why do you keep talking about the money he made? The money he made is a big part of it. That's what I said. I said that he used, the fans made him rich, right? They bought all the books, they watched the show, they bought all the merchandise, and then he turned around and is lying to them. And if you want to believe him and that he's trying to finish it, that's fine. I don't. I think if he wanted to finish at least book 6, he would, or would have at this point. And there's no chance now that he finishes book 6 and 7. And again, if he just, even if he doesn't say, so what, they got the books they paid for. Yeah, when you say something's going to be a 7-book series and you put out 5 books, the assumption is that they're getting 7 books, that there's going to be a story for 7 books, or there's going to be a complete story. Dance with Dragons ends in the middle of a whole bunch of plot lines going on. Jon Snow's fucking dead. Daenerys is surrounded by Dothraki, I think. It's been a while since I read them. That's crazy to me to think that that he should be able to say, yeah, it's a 7-book series, or that's the goal, and then perpetually say that's what it's going to be, and then just not do it. And I'm not even just saying this about authors. There's all kinds of people that do this shit. I mean, you see this all the time with athletes, right? They fucking get big fat ass contracts, and then they'll, I'm injured, I don't feel like playing. Or they'll go out there and half-ass it. And I would say they're fucking assholes too. I think there's all kinds of people that don't hold up their end of a bargain. And part of the customer, creator bargain is, this is what you told me the story was going to be. I'm being autistic. What do you mean real life happens? He's fucking sitting at home rich. He's hanging out at fucking Hollywood parties. Like, I know he has a life and whatever. I'm not saying he needs to lock himself in a cabin for a decade and finish the story. But all he has to do is come out and say, like, look, guys, I am trying to work on it when I can. I've got a bunch of other projects that I've been interested in. And frankly, there's a lot that I don't know what to do with. Why doesn't he just come out and say that? Instead of every year on his blog talking about the progress that he's made and how many pages he has and blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of people who are assholes. Wouldn't I what? I'm not saying he shouldn't do that stuff. But look, if it was me and I felt like I was just really stuck at some point, I would probably take a step back, take a break if I need to, and just let the audience know what's going on. And Mr. Divine says he has no problem finishing the Dances with Dragons prequel. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is, it's not like he's just not writing. Here, after this level, I'll pull up his blog and we can look at it and see what he's saying. I mean, I seriously don't know why you think that he shouldn't be adult enough to just say, hey, look, I've got all these other projects going on. I'm working on the book when I have time, but I don't know if I'm going to finish it anytime soon. That's all he has to say. And then my point about the money was not just, I think once you, like, if J.K. Rowling wrote fucking 6 Harry Potter books and then just never finished, everyone would call her a giant cunt. And I would agree. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that position. And I'm not sure why you're taking it like personally on his behalf. And my point about the money also was, not only did he get rich off the fans, but he has resources. He's not like a normal person who, he's got to go work his part-time job being a waiter and then fit in writing when he can. He's too exhausted. He's like a 70-something-year-old dude. So I presume he doesn't have any young children he's dealing with or anything. And he has the money to say, hey, fucking Brandon Sanderson or whoever, make at least 1 hour long. And Brandon Sanderson or whoever, I'll pay you $100,000, or half the profits, or whatever the case is. Please write books 6 and 7 for me. Here's my outlines. Here's what I want to do with the characters. You can consult me. Just give me a call if you have questions to work out the details and blah, blah, blah. Because I'm sure as autistic as George R. R. Martin is with his world building, that he has some big fat ass notebook with all the histories and all the lineages and all the world building and all the characters. So he can hand it over to somebody else. He doesn't need to do it himself. If he really feels that way, then I think it's perfectly fine for him to say, look, I'm going to co-author this book with someone else, and they're going to be the primary author on it. And how old is he now? He's like 78, isn't he? He's getting up there. I mean, the show got popular shit at this point around when the book did, when his last book came out. Let's see. Yeah, he's 75. So, yeah, I mean, he's old and he's also a heavy dude. anyway, back to what I was saying about the Rent-A-Girlfriend guy before I got totally sidelined there, was he's doing the opposite where every arc feels like it's a climax and he's blowing these massive plot points. And then he just resets the story. So he resets the characters, resets the development, resets the situation a little bit, and then repeats it. So this Paradise arc, to me, should have been the finale of the season. Yeah. My sidetrack still came back to the tracks though. But so like to me, the reason I think Rent-A-Girlfriend pisses me off, it's a different way, where it is essentially stringing along the audience, and then you'll see it's crazy. You'll see the manga sales dip, and then there'll be a big plot thing, and it does it all over again. And obviously, it's selling well enough that, you know, it's got fucking live action versions and 4th seasons of anime, and I'm sure it's selling crazy copies in Japan. But so do you think Rent-A-Girl should follow a new character each season? No, like, to me, like when you're talking about story shit like that, if you want to have a rom-com manga that's going to be 500 chapters, like then you need, I mean, it's not required, right? But I think it's almost impossible to tell a rom-com that long of just one character, like just focused on one character and one girl. It's not like, and that's why I brought up in the video, I bring this up too, is Kaguya-sama Love is War is a super popular manga, right? It's like one of the best rom-coms. That one, I think, is 278 chapters, I want to say. And that one, you have like 4 or 5 main characters. You get a pretty deep backstory for all of the characters. Like the guy, you get one, the girl Mina, her friend with the glasses, Shirogane, his sister, which is Kaguya's maid. Like you have like 10 characters being covered, and their relationship has already progressed in the show. Like in season 3, it could end and be called a complete show. Rent-A-Girlfriend would need, I don't know, season 6 minimum. And I actually think it would probably need like 7 or 8 because the stuff still hasn't completely progressed. And this is what he does every time, is just bait it and then reset. And I think that's what this current arc is going to be. Like I said, it's on chapter 12 of him getting ready for a date, which is just astonishing to me that you would use chapters that way after 330 fucking chapters. To have 12 chapters minimum, because I stopped, of him just planning a date. Give me a fucking break. That's like 1 chapter, maybe 2. And shit. Fucking tally went down. Hold on, guys. Let me I hate fucking Kai Lang. And I want to finish this real quick so I can shit. Fuck. Oh, you fucking asshole. This team sucks that I brought together because I'm a stupid adept. All right, let me look real quick. What you guys were saying. Sumi should be the main character. Well, that's the other thing too, is that no one talks about the fact that Sumi is the only decent person in the show. Like as a human being, I mean. Mayo says, imagine if they just didn't do Return of the King or stopped halfway through after bringing everybody in. Yeah, exactly. Istad's messages aren't going through. Oh, because he said fuck Ruka, fuck Mommy, and fuck Chizuru. Yeah, YouTube, man. YouTube is fucking strict with chat. You know, I've actually tried to send super chats before. I can't remember who it was to. Probably fucking Critical Drinker or something, where I said the word fuck. And when you click send, it'll just not go. Like it won't say you spent the money. It just won't acknowledge that you hit the button. So you have to like play with your fucking words until it goes through. I see that in the comments too, actually. I didn't notice for like a year and a half of my channel, but there were comments that were being held for review that I had to like manually approve of. Even though every time that I every time I put a video up, I had the option for like restricting comments, and I put none, obviously, because people can say what they want. But, you know, even still, I have to go through and like manually approve comments sometimes. And then some people like Kaiju, who comments on a lot of my stuff, his comments lately, none of them have shown up. Like I've got no notifications for them. I have to go in and find them manually, which is just bullshit. I wish YouTube would be like honest about how their shit works, because I have no clue at this point, like how their shit works, or like what the trigger words are or anything like that. And I've seen it with my own comments too. Like if you go to a bigger channel, Jesus Christ, a bigger channel's comment section, you'll see where they these fucking phantoms, man. You'll see where, like, if you hit like view all comments, it'll say like let's just say 50 comments, but then you scroll down and it's actually only like 7 there, and you had to like fuck with the filters to try to get all of them to show up, and sometimes they just won't. Oh, you bitch! I wonder if I can sabotage her. Fucking phantoms! Damn it! But yeah, so sorry, man, I got distracted. I think it was Divine was asking about if they should do a girl each season. I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is the relationship from the get-go is Chizuru and Kazuya. Like, there's no point where that's really in doubt, because even though they're not dating, they are in a fake relationship the entire time. So, you know, that's fine. There's a lot of rom-com structured that way. Alya hides all her feelings in Russian, or sometimes hides her feeling in Russian. Like, that is a very similar structure where I don't think it's going to be super dramatic, or I don't know if it'll be drawn out or not. But it's not going to be one of those things where you're like, oh, maybe there's going to be another guy or girl involved. It's very clear that, like, that's the main couple, and, you know, that's it. Like, there's no need to fuck around. You don't need to, like, it's not like a harem type thing, or he has to choose a girl type thing, right? Geez, I am getting my fucking ass blasted right now trying to talk to you guys. I have a terrible setup for this, though, because I have Adept, and I've been bringing Tally since she's my romance option, and then Edie. And I'm also like distracted with trying to talk to the chat. But I think the biggest issue really for me is the author's writing style. I would seriously say it's a chapter. How the fuck did I die? How the fuck did I just die there? I've never had that happen before. I think the biggest problem is that it's just focused only on Kazuya and Chizuru. So there's no real other plot lines. But the shit with him and Ruka is just, I don't know. It's like there for drama, but it's not really dramatic, because, you know, like he says over and over and over, like, I'm not interested. And there's never really like the, you know, like, oh, he might leave her, you know? I mean, it's fine. Like, I don't even mind her for like the first third of the manga. But then by the time this Paradise arc finishes, well, probably earlier for some people, but just overall, you're like done with this bitch. And then you have the aspect of just the character resets. And also, you know, it just makes it so hard to read when you have to read 20 chapters for the equivalent of like 5. Like, the way that he writes, 330 chapters in a normal series, I would say would be 120, maybe. Like it's, if you haven't read the manga, the anime is covering like 70 chapters a season, which, just to give you guys some idea, typically, if you're talking about a weekly manga, you know, you might be looking more at like, I don't know, let's say 30 chapters a season. And then, you know, obviously it varies some from, you know, author to author. Like More Than a Married Couple, Less Than Lovers is a monthly manga, But that one covered like 28 chapters in one season because the author's writing style, she puts a lot of like very like pretty pictures in and that sort of thing. But even that one still progresses very fast. And I don't have a good attack for these bitches. It's really annoying. So yeah, to me that's the bigger issue. Like the amount of girls isn't the issue. There's all kinds of series that do like the like the he has to choose from 2 or 3 girl things, or there's a love triangle or whatever, right? Like that's pretty standard, I would say. Jesus Christ, these fucking phantoms, man, are killing me. That's pretty standard to me. I don't mind that at all. But when you just keep dragging it out and there's not really like a I don't know, like there's not really any tension after some point. Like once he's rejected the other girls, what are you doing? And he like very openly says, I love this girl. And that, like the author didn't put it in a fucking medieval setting, right? This isn't like the type of thing where he's like, I love this girl, but I have these family obligations. It's how the fuck did that bitch hit me from up there? It's there you go. Eat shit, fucker. It's just is he gonna choose her or is she gonna quit her shitty job or not? And after this Paradise Islands arc, to me the story felt over. And then the author was just like, think a little more. So I don't know. It just goes on for fucking ever. And it's just bait. Like everything is just bait. There's so many chapters. If you haven't read the manga, there's so many, thank God, that you're like, oh, like the chapter ends with they're about to kiss, or she's about to kiss him, or she's about to confess, or he's about to confess. Like almost every single chapter out of 300 and fucking whatever it's at now ends with, oh, next time, like we're going to get the payoff. I mean, it's kind of like a more competent version of like The Acolyte, where each episode tries to end on a cliffhanger, but then you find out that there just is no cliff. There's just setups and setups and setups. And then you're like, oh, this story is just existing. I mean, I'm really curious to see how season 5 of The Boys goes, because season 4 people have been dumping all over, and the plot has pretty much been the same since season 2. Like, is there any way that they can kill Homelander that people would be like, that was totally worth the 5-year wait? It's hard for me to imagine there is. And this was kind of the problem that Game of Thrones ran into also was, well, this was the TV people more than him. Because I heard the TV people stopped listening to him after like season 6 or season 5. But, when you build up the White Walkers for 7 seasons, they need to fuck shit up when they come in. Like I thought for sure that when they said that the big fight was going to be episode 3, that the White Walkers were going to like overrun the North, overrun like, half the continent, and they were going to be forced down into the is it King's Landing? It's been so long, I completely memory hold that show. But they were going to be forced all the way down to be there with Cersei and all have to work together to fight back. And instead it's like, no, they built it up for 7.5 seasons. We get one super dark fight where people do a bunch of retarded shit. Hardly anyone important dies. And then they're done. I think I'm a little bit low on my resources this time. 8220. All right, 82.25. I feel like normally I'm a little bit further than that. Let's. Okay, I'm gonna end the game here. Let me pull up his blog real quick to see. Since I was talking about that before, I'm wrapping up now. Do I think the showrunners are to blame? Yeah, iStat, they fucking hate you. They must have seen your streams. For that one, I would say yes. Because that one, again, I imagine he gave them some kind of outline. But they, my guess, and obviously we don't know how he would have ended the series because he hasn't said and he's not going to end it. Oh, look, here we go. One from 4 days ago. A Song of Ice and Fire box set. New covers. That's nice. That 5-book box set out of 7. All right, well, he writes in this fucking thing a lot more than I thought he did. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to dig through this for a different time then, if someone else wants to, because I actually don't care that much. But I know on the date each year, whatever he's supposed to fucking be doing it, he puts a post up saying that he's working on it. What's that book called? Winds of Winter? Oh, he doesn't have a tag for it in here. I don't think. Dance with Dragons, Game of Thrones, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they're selling calendars too. That's good. Oh, he's hanging out with Colbert. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this is just all him talk. Oh, here we go. Yes, of course. This is March 9, 2022. I'm still working on the Winds of Winter. I've stayed that 100 times in 100 venues. I made a lot of progress in 2020 and less in 2021, but less is not none. Yeah, I mean, and here he talks about their successor shows and how those are taking up a lot of his time and attention. And he says he's very heavily involved with these new series. I think he got $85 million from HBO for these new series, by the way. Oh, yeah, I know you can't say anything. I'm just reading. I'm just skimming through it myself because I don't have it. I don't have it all bookmarked or anything. I'd have to go through and like dig, and I don't have time for that right now because I was trying to wrap up. But that one was from March 2022. Him saying that he's worked on it in 2020 and 2021. I can read it. Let me click the chat window real quick. There we go. I don't know, for some reason the chat window was like slightly delayed. Although I thought I fucking changed it to live chat. Is this why you guys can't see all your shit? Because I did change it to live chat and it looks like it reverted back. Maybe that's why I was missing context for some of what you guys were saying. Let's see. Oh, I see. So some of the stuff you guys were sending to me, because it was filtered to top chat instead of live chat, I was only seeing like random fucking messages in there. That's annoying. Because every time I start the fucking stream, the first thing I do is put up live chat. Because live chat, if you don't know, it's supposed to show everything. And then top chat only shows some stuff, like kind of however YouTube feels like filtering. Damn it. Although I do think a lot of your stuff was being censored because I'm still not seeing it. So I don't know if it just disappeared into the fucking ether there. I don't know if you can see me scrolling through it. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, I was just skimming his blog real quick. I didn't think he actually blogged that much. It looks like he does. So I'm just skimming. I know you can't see anything except for my Mass Effect screen. That's okay. I'm finishing up anyway. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have stuff tagged that's like very easy to filter through either. But yeah, I mean, even the one that I found in 2022 is him saying, yeah, I'm still working on it. So doesn't really change my opinion either way. But I'm gonna wrap up here. I do have some stuff to do. I was actually hoping to wrap up like half an hour ago, but I wanted to finish that fucking level. So next time I stream with next Sunday, I can finish up this damn game and start something else. You know, only playing a couple hours at a time, it's actually drags it out. But yeah, for videos, I'm gonna actually, as soon as I get off here, I'm gonna edit my Rent a Girlfriend one, and I'm gonna edit my Alia Sometimes Hides Her Feeling in Russian one. Get those out, and then the next thing I put out will probably be the Acolyte video. I was debating doing a watch party, but the only problem with that is I don't show my face. So it looks like a lot of people who do watch parties either one, show their face and they just don't show anything on the screen, or they show the screen but little, and then you're kind of seeing them react. And I don't know how dickish like YouTube or Disney or anybody is about that. So I don't know if that would actually be very enjoyable to do like a watch party with me just kind of talking as I'm watching the episode. And then plus I do one watch of the show, I just sit on the couch and watch it. Oh, Mr. Divine says wear a mask. You talking about Hello Greedo? I thought about that, but then I was looking for masks that I would have to have my mouth open so it wouldn't fuck up the audio. And I was kind of like, eh. And then I did a poll and pretty much no one wanted to see me on camera. That's why I called that one stream Chat Thinks I'm Ugly. But maybe I could bring the avatar back, I guess, if I really wanted to. But, you know, in general, I like to do one watch through of I just sit down on my couch and watch it. And then I go through it again and I just pause where I want to talk. Go full circle and get a Doge. Yeah. And then my review, I just go through it and I pause where I want to talk about shit. And I just, you know, put up relevant images. So I'm not sure if I'll commit to that because I just don't know how much of a hassle it would be. And I don't want to get in trouble with copyright shit because of just how finicky YouTube has been. But I guess I don't know if even if I put like a watermark over it and did like the avatar, but then the screen small with a watermark, I don't know if I would get away with it. So yeah, I'll have to decide by then. But yeah, for now I'm going to wrap up. After the Acolyte video, I don't know what my next thing will be. There's actually a couple other anime shows I want to talk about that just started this season, but there's no real rush on that. And then I have some long form stuff that I wanted to work on, but I just haven't had time. And then as far as shows, I don't think there's anything else coming out right now or in the future that I have an interest in. I do have a couple member requests that I need to get to. One is Taxi Driver from Jay, and another one is Gravity Falls from Zega. So I'll get to those sometime in the next couple of weeks. iStat still hasn't made his. And then Twisters comes out next week, so I'll probably go see that and do a review. And then Deadpool 3. Deadpool 3 comes out in 2 weeks, I think. So I'll definitely go see that and do a video. Yeah, his dad says he hasn't made a request because he's lazy. Long legs, what's that? Did you make that up? Or is that porn? Or is it horror? Oh yeah, it looks like horror. I like Nicolas Cage, but no, I don't really do horror, so it's porn. Horror is just not my thing. But movie-wise, it'll probably be Twisters and what did I just say? Deadpool next. And then I guess if I stumble across anything that I just really like or dislike. And then I had a fucking Star Wars thing that I wanted to get done. I keep procrastinating with it. And then I probably will do a full season video of The Acolyte, because I actually think it's worse than I realized. So, but you know, the long form stuff takes time, obviously. That I can't just crank out because that requires like a script and structure and all that before I can even record. And then obviously all the editing that comes with it. So yeah, that's what's going on. I don't think I have anything else to say. I'm planning on streaming next Sunday. I haven't talked to anybody about coming on. I haven't heard from Mandibles in a while. I don't know. I'm assuming he's just got real life stuff. As far as like the people I talk to on YouTube, obviously Mayo and I canceled today, so I doubt I'll ask him next week. And then Shamrock can't do Sundays. So, you know, it's just hard when you have a small channel, because then it's like you pretty much have to find people your size or hope that a bigger channel asks you, which, you know, isn't likely. So either way. All right, well, that's it for now. Oh, and the last thing, I also am considering possibly creating a second channel just for these re-uploads, just because I don't know if it messes with the algorithm shit. But if I do that, I'll make a post, and it won't be until essentially what I'll do is upload all the videos there and then put a post up. I just need to figure out the rules, because YouTube has weird rules about like the way that you reuse stuff. So I don't know if I need like a new email or if I can just create a second channel on the same email. So I have to figure that out. But okay. It was good talking to you guys. George R. R. Martin can suck it. And I'll see you next weekend.